From Penn State Health and Penn State Children's Hospital, this is Ask Us Anything About Toy Safety. I'm Scott Gilbert. Well, for many of us, children are on our holiday shopping list, and that means toys are on the list. And we want to make sure that when we're out there buying toys for children this holiday season, we don't just find something they'll like and play with, but also something that's safe. And here with some tips on how we can do just that is Amy Bollinger. She's manager of the Pediatric Trauma and Injury Prevention Program here at Penn State Children's Hospital. Welcome back to Ask Us Anything About Amy.
Thanks, Scott.
You know, we'd like to think that toy recalls do their job, right? And that anything that's dangerous gets recalled. But in fact, the truth is, when we walk into a toy store, there are some dangers on those shelves, especially depending on the age of the child and some other factors.
There really are. We have to be very cautious about what we buy for our children and the children we love. We want childhood to be fun. That's what being a kid is all about, especially at the holiday time. But there are dangers and risks, and we want to find the balance between finding something that's fun for a child, but also keeping him or her safe.
So let's start with the youngest children,
Sure.
like ages 1 to 5, right? So they're in an age where they probably don't perceive danger that well.
They do not. So that's our largest patient population in pediatric trauma. Our children ages 1 to 5, we see a lot here. And that's because young kids are just learning to explore their world. They don't understand the difference between a toy that's safe and a toy that is dangerous. They just see a toy. And they want to have fun with it, explore it, because that's their job. Their work is play.
And so one of the most common dangers for them are choke hazards.
Yes.
And I know you brought some examples, so let's turn to the table behind us and look at some of these here. Where do we want to start?
Let's start with a toy tester.
So this is a great idea here. These tubes can actually, even just a regular toilet paper tube, can be a useful tool for parents.
That's exactly right. So this is called a toy tester, and you can buy this on many different websites. Costs a few dollars. If you don't want to spend the money, a good old-fashioned toilet paper roll will work just fine. And the premise behind this is, if the toy is too small for your child or is a choking hazard, it will fit completely. It's a marble. It will fit completely inside the toy tester and therefore be a choking hazard and a risk for choking for your child. Same thing with the toilet paper roll. You take a marble, if it fits inside, it's too small for a young child under the age of 5.
And like I say, a lot of us probably, we can guess that a marble or small things are going to be choke hazards, but things that are a little bit bigger that we think may not be, they fit in that tube, and therefore we don't want to get them for young children.
That's right. That's right. The younger the child, the higher the risk of choking and the higher the risk of injury. But still, we want to be cautious and make sure the toys that fit inside the toilet paper roll may not be safe.
And so I've got 2 children at home. One is about 4 years older than the other. And so that's a pretty common scenario. So one of the things to watch for in that case is younger children playing with the older child's toys, right?
Absolutely. For those of us who have more than one child, we know that the younger sibling usually idolizes and wants to do whatever the older sibling is doing. So that is a big risk with kids getting into their older siblings' toys. For example, we have a Barbie. Mm-hmm. And Barbies are great for older children, but a small toddler gets into this. Thank you.
Sure.
Here we have a Barbie shoe that's very, very tiny. That could be a choking hazard. We have other little pieces and parts of the Barbie that could be a danger. And the same is true for boys as well. There are toys that boys use to build, and they have small pieces and parts. And when they're building their toys with small pieces and parts, young children can get into them. They typically want to put everything in their mouth, and that's when the choking piece comes in.
And so, we see a toy like this, like a doll is obviously not a choking hazard.
Correct.
It's the accessories and the parts we have to think about.
That's exactly right. We worry about the small parts.
Sure. So a choking hazard many people may not realize is a common balloon. Why?
Well, balloons are made out of latex, and once the balloon pops, that latex becomes a slippery piece of rubber. It's very easy for a young child to put that piece of rubber in his or her mouth, have it go back and completely block off their airway. When that happens, it kind of crumples up inside the trachea, and it is almost impossible to get out emergently. And that's a real risk for little kids, for small children.
You're watching Ask Us Anything About Toy Safety for Penn State Health and Penn State Children's Hospital. We welcome your questions for Amy Bollinger. She manages the Pediatric Trauma and Injury Prevention Program here. You can put them in the comment field whether you're watching this video live or after the fact, and we'll get you some answers in the form of a live response or a comment reply. We're talking about choking hazards right now, and here's an interesting one here. Something that it's a hidden choking hazard because it exists inside of things like this. The common key fob that almost all of us have for a car is the button battery.
So this is a button battery. Button batteries can be found in many different places. They can be found in remote controls, in hearing aids. They can be found in bathroom scales. They can be found in those keyless entry systems for sure. And this is a surgical emergency. So if a child swallows this, what happens is the battery starts to erode through the esophagus, the stomach lining, or the intestines. And when I say erode, I mean that puts a hole right through their internal organs.
Because there are chemicals, acids.
Right, chemicals and acids that are used to conduct the electricity to make the toy light up or the object work, but they're not meant for our insides.
And one more choking hazard to touch on that has a kind of another complication, and that's magnets, small magnets that can be swallowed, and what those can do inside the intestine.
That's right. So if you think about how a magnet works, one magnet sticks to another magnet. If that happens inside your body, that also becomes a surgical emergency where children come in and we have to take them to the operating room and remove those magnets. It can cause obstructions in their intestines and can cause a tremendous amount of pain for a child.
What questions do you have about toy safety? You know, if there are children on your holiday shopping list and you have questions, we invite you to put those in the comment field below this Facebook post and we'll get you some answers. This is Ask Us Anything About Toy Safety from Penn State Health. And you know, there's a substance that it seems like it's become especially popular in the last couple years. Yeah. Ugh, slime. So, and you know,
you're not a fan of slime.
I'm not, but my daughter is, and you know there are a lot of kids out there that are because it's easy to make. Take laundry detergent, a couple other chemicals, but there are also kits available in the toy store.
Correct.
There's a chemical in some of those kits that parents need to be aware of.
That's right. It's called boron, Boron, and that is a chemical that in higher doses may not be safe for children. It's not regulated in other parts of the world, so if it's manufactured in other countries and is imported into the United States, it may have higher than normal levels of boron, and that can be unsafe. We know that if boron is ingested, it can cause nausea and vomiting. There is some question about reproductive health in people as they age if they've had high levels of boron exposure as children. The other thing that we've seen that our pediatrician colleagues have shared with us is that they sometimes see burn-like rashes on children's hands and their forearms, any place lots of slime has touched.
And these are things, like you said, we see them here at Penn State Health. We see them in our emergency department. We see kids who've swallowed button batteries in here. So we're not talking in the abstract.
No. I was speaking with a colleague yesterday, and she shared with me that on average, once a month, we see kiddos here who have swallowed a button battery and are in trouble and need some kind of surgery to remove it.
So there are a lot of products out there that have a high amount of lead content. And fortunately, a lot of those have been recalled. But are there certain ones that are certain types of items that we should watch for?
So I would say all lead is not good for children. So if you're looking to purchase something, it's a good idea to always look at the label of whatever it is you're buying to be sure that it doesn't list lead as a part of the chemical makeup or a part of the manufacturing makeup of the toy.
And we'll share some links, including links to some lists of recalled products that include high levels of lead and some other things. So our emphasis so far has been on younger children, but we know that there are dangers out there for older kids as well, especially those who crave action and playing outside on bikes, on scooters.
Our adrenaline junkies.
Exactly. How do we address some of those?
So the most common injuries we see in pediatric trauma with any child under the age of 18 are injuries to the brain and injuries to bones. So we want to protect your brain and our kids' brains. So if you are buying a toy that has wheels or goes fast, please buy the helmet to go with it. For example, this is a bike helmet. You can buy them at many large retail stores for under $15. You want to make sure it's fitted correctly, and there are instructions on the helmet packaging to tell you how to how to apply it safely. And we say every time, if your child's going out on a bike, your child needs to have the helmet on.
It's about forming the habit.
Right.
That's really the thing.
Right.
And when it comes to a helmet like this, I've also seen in those instructions that if a child takes a spill and the helmet impacts the ground, it's probably time to get a new one.
That's right. So I'm a mom of one of those adrenaline junkie kids that we talk about. And I have memories when he first learned to ride a bike, he'd put his helmet on and he'd get 2 blocks down the street and take it off. And I'd see him. And when he'd come back, I had to pull out the mom hat and there had to be a consequence. So he got in the habit. He understood that no helmet meant no bike.
And here's my son's bike helmet. No, that's actually not true, but this is an example of a helmet we might use for sports and that type of thing.
For sports, especially winter sports. So this time of year, as it gets colder, we're going to see children out on ski slopes and on hills, and they're going to sled, and they're going to ice skate and snowboard. And again, when you go fast down an icy, snowy hill, you're not always in control of whatever it is you're riding on. So you want to be sure that you protect your brain. And because brain injuries are many times not reversible.
Let me play devil's advocate. Pretend I'm a teen and say, come on, Mom, that's not going to happen to me. Is that a common attitude?
All the time. We see it all the time. Teenagers have a complete inability to understand the consequences of risky behavior. That's just how their brains work as teenagers. As they age and get into their 20s, that executive functioning comes. But most teens do not have that executive functioning ability at 14, 15, 16, 17. So we talk a lot about thinking through the consequences of your behavior. Think it through. Talk me through. What could happen? What could go wrong? And yes, it sounds like Debbie Downer. Yes, it sounds like a nagging parent, but we're teaching our children to then think through consequences of their actions.
You're watching Ask Us Anything About Toy Safety from Penn State Children's Hospital. I'm Scott Gilbert alongside Amy Bollinger. We welcome your questions. Just add them to the comment field. And also, we hope if you find this content important and helpful, as we hope you do, that you'll share it on your Facebook page or even tag a friend in the comment section. Maybe somebody who has some children or grandchildren that they're buying for this holiday season. We're talking about fun outside, some risk-taking. I think of various vehicles children like to use, bicycles, scooters. There's also hoverboards. Hoverboards have gotten some bad press.
They have.
And in part, that's deservedly so.
Yes, we have seen, in our experience here at the Trauma Center, we have seen children who have become very critically injured and some who have died because of unsafe hoverboards. The issue for hoverboards are twofold. First issue is they have to be plugged in to charge the battery. And some of those hoverboards' batteries have caught fire. And then typically they charge overnight. So a family plugs the hoverboard in, goes to sleep, the battery overheats and catches fire, and the house catches fire, and that has deadly consequences.
So do your research online.
Yes.
Check the recall list.
Look at the recall list. Make sure that you're buying a hoverboard that has not been recalled.
So I imagine, especially if you go on Craigslist or something and buy a hoverboard there that's been used, that's a great way to get rid of one that's been recalled.
Correct. And for all intents and purposes, you don't always know what you're buying when you buy something on a site like Craigslist. You have to be extra cautious if you choose to do that.
So as we wrap things up here, I want to kind of take it back to something you said earlier on, and that is we're not trying to tell kids to not have fun, right? I mean, we realize toys are about fun, the holiday season is about fun. We're not trying to be all bah humbug,
correct,
but we are trying to keep people safe.
Correct. My kids go sledding. My kids do fun stuff in the wintertime.
You let them out of the house.
I do, and I do not put them in bubble wrap, although they might tell you otherwise. I do let them out of the house. But you have to know what the risks are. It's our job as parents to protect our kids when they can't necessarily do the right thing to protect themselves. That comes with age. With age comes wisdom, right? So we know that if we can give them those skills now, teach them what they need to know to be safe, protect them until they have the wisdom, they're going to be safer and hopefully not come to the trauma center.
And hopefully parents will make some great buying decisions based on the advice you've provided today. Thanks very much. Appreciate your time. Amy Bollinger, she is manager of the Pediatric Trauma and Injury Prevention Program here at Penn State Children's Hospital. We thank you for your time, and we thank you for watching Ask Us Anything About Toy Safety from Penn State Health.